Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to a quick, to the point of almost rushed installment of It Came From the Workbench series. This is It Came From the Workbench, Vol.54. This is episode 2. We'll call it 21% more complete. Because I believe that I stated in the first installment, which was a bit of a longer one, we're going to try to get this a little more brief. I believe I said I got 74% of the way done. We've got about another 21% of it done. The interior is still in a box. But because there is a filming schedule, we had to operate to that schedule. Look at this green, though. So no ghosty. We can't ghost ride because good golly and great googly moogly, if you have never experienced in your life a just comes in a bag TRX4 body, other than the sport, right? So I have to imagine the Broncos Blazers. I've built a Defender, and I should have known what I was into, which is M1.6 by 5 like 100 times. But this thing's backed up to its regular price in between ordering it now, so they're $100 again. Look at that front end. I mean, of the Traxxas TRX4 models that have come and gone, why did they discontinue this one? I don't get it. It looks so good. It's not quite Bruce big. Man, does it look good. This thing will absolutely drink paint. See all the way down where the body trims are? These body trims, all screws, all the way down. In the grill, it was probably 2.5 hours to get this all done. The painting wasn't, look at the taillights. The painting wasn't really that difficult of a process. That is Traxxas Racing Green, which is super translucent. And then when you back it, you have your choice of how dark you want to go. So I put down a coat of Tamiya PS9, which is green, and then backed it with Tamiya Black. Almost 3 full cans of paint to paint this. You're painting the inside of a huge box. And then, you do the mask cut and you paint the outside of the fenders to like satin black. It came out great. I couldn't be happier with it. The turbines, put them on 6mm hubs. Seems perfect. The width looks perfect. The wife took it for her first test spin yesterday. She drove it around in the grass outside. And I didn't realize I had done this, but it was 100% like starting over. The last vehicle that she drove was a bone stock, and I mean bone stock, TRX4 High Trail F-150. So she went from this in her hands, where she had learned, it was a TQI because it's but same exact, and to do cruise, you get where you want, and then you press the button and it stays on cruise, and to cancel it, is it one of those days? It's too early for the camera, I guess. So she went from that immediately to cruise control is here. You adjust the speed here. So she'd be in cruise. She would tap it like that to disable cruise control. It would slow down for a second, and then she would let it go, and it would just keep driving in a straight direction. And she had that. It's my first day of learning to drive a manual transmission, and now I'm panicking. And then she went from a 2075X to a Reef's 444. So it's like, and she's making these sharp turns, and I'm like, oh my God, this is why I would be a terrible instructor for this. I don't even think of these things because I'm too close to the problem, if that makes any sense. Eco Power is already out. I ordered another one. It came the same day. Do y'all remember mid-video I clicked the button? I spent $40 on screws and then used half of them. I have sub-zero regrets. I would do it again. I would do it again. Not just every fastener on this vehicle is stainless steel. Every single one. It comes with stainless steel lock nuts for the wheels. It comes with stainless steel pins for the drive shafts. So it's full stainless. Stainless in the screw. Everything, including the, where do I find these stainless tiny little, I think they're M2.5, no, they're M2 buttons that hold that bearing in. Stainless as far as the eye can see. I changed all of the links multiple times. It was a festival of taking stuff off and putting stuff back on. I got a piece of Delrin out and I fastened this piece. I have 16s in there. It'll take 20s. That's not going anywhere. You'd bend the frame first. And then I cut a matching piece of Delrin back here to mount the camera. And then when I was mocking up the camera, I was like, I can just mount it to the... I'm contemplating spending the unnecessary money on a hot racing a pair of aluminum body mount pieces, because then I'd be a lot more comfortable mounting this down. It's got a little... It just adds to the ambiance. So we haven't gotten to the interior because attempting to fit the interior in place is really well and truly something else. I had the exact battery that I had. There was a battery sitting right here on the bench when we finished the last one. And it's right here, the one where half the label peeled off. So I have not really test driven this at all. She drove it around in the grass. I want to see what the ground speed looks like. We can put some steering into it. I've got a not training mode. She's got enough wheel time on it, but it's just fully like, well, okay. Hopefully you'll be able to see. It's a little fast, right? I kept debating. Maybe I should go with the blue case. You see what I mean? Go down to low. Yeah, honestly, I would say that the low is probably about the speed. That's about the speed I would want something that doesn't have a 2-speed. I went with it's a 12. There's a 12-tooth pinion in there. I have a couple of options here. I could put a 1200 in it. Which would probably just solve our problems. Now I'm looking at it and I'm going, how difficult? I can probably get a 1200 in there in 4 minutes. We're going to put a 1200 in it, and we're going to, because I'll tell you right now, I don't even have to go to rocks. That's moving. Definitely double digits in speed. And because of what we're building this for, it only needs to be as fast as Bruce. So my initial thought was I can do the cutaway and just swap it out. And then my immediately following thought was, let's see how long it actually takes. Because in test fitting the pieces of the interior, I can't run the receiver box my preferred way, which is backwards. I ordered a Rustler receiver box in case of emergency. And while I was working on this, it occurred to me, I really need that Rustler receiver box for something else. So if I can get away with not putting the Rustler receiver box on here, that would be great. I just had a memory. I had a memory storm, a flash of memory. There's no screw in that body mount. Everything happens for a reason. I didn't put that screw in because to get the switch up front, I had to undo one of the screws in the body mount. I did not know that these were a thing until very recently. I hate servo extensions. I'm basically to the point where I refuse to use them. Except not now. Not with these little clippy guys. Because now you can't hit a rock a little hard and have your vehicle unplug itself. So we're going to stick with the same one. We're in the fourth hole. It's not dead to me. I saw it. The little extension clippy is amazing. There is. And we have certain advantages. There's just a smidge shaft exposed. Now we're going to replace it with something that's identical. It was right, I'm going to say right there. We're not changing pinion, so we don't have to move the holes. And we are in the fourth hole from the bottom and the fourth hole from the top. So we should still have mesh. Charger is charging up a battery for the video immediately following this one. At least that's the goal. 4 and 4. How am I doing? Two minutes and change. Drop this guy in. Self-doubt. Nope, we're good. 12. I did, you know, I go 1800 on TRX4s. I would not have thought 1200 at all. So then the math doubt overcomes me, and I think, okay, dropping from 1800 to 1200 is a drop of 600 kV. So in 1800, oh, I despise math, and it's too early in the day for it. Going from an 1800 to a 1200, are we dropping 33% of the speed, or are we dropping 50% of the speed? Going from a 1200 to an 1800 should be 50% faster. But then going from an 1800 to a 1200, we're dropping 600 out of 1800 is a third of it. So we're dropping a third. Right? Does that make sense? Half of 1200 is 600. So if we increase by 600, that's a 50%. Just imagine the little, like there's just a little wisp of smoke comes up as I'm like, are we changing it 50% or 33%? It's about 3 minutes. About 3 minutes to get that in. Yeah, and then this, among many other reasons, is why there's no interior in this. Because you don't, that is unquestionably finish work. And we have no idea what's going to work. That is a 20. I have so many technical aspects for filming trailing stuff. There's so many things to get correct. I'm well out of the comfort zone of the course. It's the beauty of these switches and this tape. You basically have to cut a piece of tape in half, and then you just stick the little rest of the piece of tape to the big reel that the tape comes on, and when you have to glue another one down, boom. And now we've got an 1800 put aside for something else. I love the 1200. The 1200 has the best trigger feel of any of them, but the 1800 is kind of inarguably more versatile. Yeah. I mean, it's a fusion. And there's just the control of the 1200. FOC. It is my... it makes... it's just... Oh, we got to calibrate. We definitely got to calibrate. It is my somewhat educated opinion that the controller in the SE is a less sophisticated controller that's in the Pro. That's part of what you're paying for with the Pro. It's a more powerful ESC and has a more powerful BEC. But what you're also paying for is the sophistication of that FOC controller. This one is not as sophisticated. That's how they can sell it at such a low price point. That's $70. They can do that because it's less sophisticated. Anyway, it is my formulated stance that the 1200 is the best because that less sophisticated controller is better the less kV it has to manage. So the 1800, especially if you drive them side by side, the 1800 doesn't have that smoothness. The 1200 is closer in smoothness to the 2300 Pro, and the Fusion 8 is just like a Super Pro, and the Mini 16 is just a tiny Pro. So really, the 1800 SE is the least smooth of all of the Hobbywing all-in-ones. What it will come down to is a number on the display. What are we... Oh, card. Card. We're going to need the card almost certainly. Quick one. Brushed. Fusion SE. It's got to be 50% reverse. I want to turn punch down a little bit. I have to try to get myself into a mindset of, I'm not setting this up to go slay the rocks, bro. This is like, set a vehicle up for someone else. And that's not really in my wheelhouse. I set everything up kind of for the way I drive. And I realize it's not directly applicable to a lot of people. She picked out the color, and I am not mad about that color at all. It's such a rich green, and a 5-ounce Traxxas can just finishes it. I don't think, like if I had just had a can of PS9, which to me a PS9 is not the Kelly green, it's the green. It's just called green. It's darker. It's not this dark. I don't think you could do a whole one of these on one can. If I were doing it myself, I would have messed it up. I would have done it either, I would have done it duplicolor vinyl and fabric, either in white or medium gray, because that's what rich people do with their cars. They paint them very boring colors. This is an amazing color, and like the chrome is necessities. It's a G-Wagon. It's got to have the, I mean, it's got that showroom flash on it as it spins. Well, I've been cleaning the fingerprints off with Novus plastic polish. So, I mean, look at the hood. If you get yourself a G-Wagon, just order some Novus at the same time. Just keep it in your pocket. You got to be shining it up. We're going to go out and do as few rocks as possible. We're going to do a little mess about. I just want to see, like, I just took TRX6 shocks from Jenny's with the white springs on them and just threw them on the vehicle. No changes at all. I did pull the whole gearbox apart, fully grease it, reassemble it, because I had to put all the stainless in it, so I was like, why not? Replaced all the exterior bearings on the gearbox with rubber sealed. Made sure every fastener on the axles was ready to go. Re-greased the axles. Did not re-grease the portal boxes, but it sounds, it sounds like a TRX4. I think it's going to be absolutely fine, and what we're going to do right now is find out if it's absolutely fine. I think it's beautiful. I hope that we get a morning sun hitting at just the right angles. I got to get just the right thumbnail of this, And come join me outside as we do just a little bit of a shakedown run. It joins in. I almost just wiped that off my hand like a savage. It joins a catalog of vehicles that basically I don't want to roll this down the rocks. All of the scratches are pre-reserved. The lady owner is allowed to put as many scratches as she wants on it. And I don't want to call out my wife here, but when she test drove it around in the grass yesterday, she said to me, "Is there any way to make the tires more black? I don't feel like the tires are black enough." And I was like, I mean, yeah, I can do that. And in the back of my mind at the time, I was thinking, what a crazy request. And now, yeah, I get it. Yeah, they do. I mean, if you look at the rest of it, it looks like you went down to the dealership to pick up your brand new G-G-G-G-Wagen. Perfectly timed. And they gave you used tires. Meet me outside. I've definitely said in the past that we learn a lot from the drive back. This is no exception. There's about 60% of cruise control in first gear, which is real slow, real slow. I don't believe that I've ever put a 1200 on a TRX4. And then there's 60%, so we'll go to about 65%. Yeah, right there. That's pretty much oh, that was a good grill hit. That is pretty much a perfect cruise speed. That's what I'm looking for. So the 1800 would have been, yeah, like sub 50. The split between first and second gear in a TRX4 2-speed is pretty good. So full throttle, yeah. I don't want to go any faster than that. Now, I want you to keep in your mind that's a 1200 kV on 3S. So the 1800 for her would have been a 2S. But we run a lot. My number of 2S packs is nearly nothing, and I don't want to introduce any. I would rather just volt up, kV down. So that's what we've done. I would have been reasonably comfortable running the 1800. But it's an amount of speed I genuinely don't think we need. And there we go. It is, at its core, a TRX4. Canyon RTs are certainly not bad. Nice, careful. As she was test driving yesterday, she said, well, I'm probably going to run into you a couple more times as I get used to the feeling of the vehicle and the controller. And I said, it's nothing really to worry about. And she goes, well, why is that? And I said, well, as it's outfitted right now with 2 batteries in it, your G-Wagen is right around 8 pounds and Bruce is like 14.5. So, I mean, if you took him directly amidships at speed, you might be able to knock him on his side. But, well, this guy does have a steel bumper. I am still impressed by the fitment of that steel bumper, that winch bumper up against the body. This might be one of my favorite TRX4 bodies now, despite the fact that it drank paint. And it's got a camera in it already. You have to do any wheel tests in running configuration. Also, I think I mentioned the only thing I had on hand that would fill the RTs was just the inner from a Canyon Trail 2.2 insert. So like this very firm, open cell foam, but very firm. They're doing fine. I mean, this is not just like, well, it can crawl a little. No, like, this is fast enough for trouble, and we can crawl. I have to get over. I'm not going to be the first person to roll this. That's for her to do. Right in there. Ah, The TRX4, still to this day, there are so many platforms and chassis and all of that out there. Nothing approaches the versatility of the TRX4. Build whatever you want. Look at a sport, regular sport, F-150 high trail, this, a TRX6. You can build so many things, and they're just capable. No. I'm not rolling this. It's on my commitment list. We're not gonna roll this. We should have just gone to Slick Rock. That's what we do. But I wanted to see. Approach and departure are great. It doesn't have big overhangs. We're running -10s on the wheels, which is effectively +10 wide on either side. And then we shrunk it down 3 millimeters aside with the hubs. So it's +14 width, and I think the width is perfect. Look, no lift. For something fully spooled, it doesn't push a lot. I didn't build anything. Traxxas used to sell this. I made it a little wider. I made it very stainless. Oh, right. There's a Sony action cam and a 5200 3S pack in there. We've definitely got some stability. And because it's LCG battery tray, it sits down, it puts that weight pretty low. Kind of the highest weight we added is the camera, followed by the 2200 that it's running off of in the front. That 2200 is the emergency battery. The 5200 should get us anywhere we need to go. Let me get right there. Nice. Where do we come around? Okay, a tiny bit concentric. That is just what's gonna happen on spools. You get some scrub in the turns. Oh, that's per 50% reverse. First gear. Yeah. Yes. Have I been doing it wrong all this time? Should I have been outfitting? Well, I kind of have. Yeah, now that I think about it, I just thought, okay, so Daphne is a TRX4 Sport, 2-speed gearbox. She runs a 1400 kV outrunner on the 2-speed. Yeah, I do run a lot of lower kV than 1800s. I think my brain was stuck on sport. 1800 in a sport because we don't have a 2-speed. But, 1200 in first gear. And then 1200 in second gear. People who are of the opinion that 2-speed is a gimmick have never geared and volted and KV'd their 2-speed properly to where you can use the 2-speed. Because if you can do that, like a Fusion Pro will give us both that and that out of a single speed. But it won't have the amount of control like I have. And we can, here's the real strength of the 2-speed. We can do that with a $70 motor ESC combo. So in case you at any point ever wonder why we're out here, why does the ghost ride occur? Why do shakedowns occur? Well, we caught the screw in the front body mount that was missing because of switch installation. I most definitely didn't catch the 4 screws that I didn't put in to the bumper when I was mounting the camera. So when I went to pick this vehicle up to move it, the bumper came off. Luckily the bumper goes inside the body, so. Oh, we had it! That foam is so hard. I still do intend to cut down some silicones. Oh, get it. Oh. basically, aside from, I'm right now, I'm feeling the camera. But aside from the electronics, the stuff that gets replaced in every RTR, this is a stock TRX4 G500, though I'm not even sure what spring rates and whatnot came on the G500. We are asking, right, we get right there, and it's almost got it. I know, I already know how this is makeable. I already know. There it is. This is the real strength of the Fusion 1200. I was about ready to back that up and take out the camera in the 5200, and we would have just scampered right up. Didn't have to. There is, like, if you were going to crawl more, either don't run the dedicated rear bumper. No, I would definitely run the dedicated rear bumper. It provides support for the body. But I would do my usual thing of probably trimming off the receiver, because look at that. That is excellent departure on there. Well, we can get right over here. You know what I might do? Either tint or black out the back window entirely, because all you see is camera in there. But we have done no interior work yet, and I don't plan on doing it until after it's been run a few times to make sure everything is where it is. It might still end up with an Amazon Blue case. Yeah, there's nothing to complain about with that departure. I'm most surprised by the Canyon, how receptive the Canyon RT is to an impossibly firm foam. Yeah, it's helping that sidewall out. Oh, there you, come on, come on. Real slow, real slow. There is a stability lent to us by running 7,400 milliamps of battery. The white springs, the white band Traxxas springs, which are 1.6, they seem to be doing fine. It does not feel oversprung. It does not feel underdamped. I did nothing. I took them out of a plastic bag. Didn't even have to change the rod ends, because the ball ends, because they're supposed to be for a TRX6. And there it is. I mean, it was going to happen. And I now 100% understand why the G500 has that little hat brim on the front of the windshield. It landed right on that. This has the capacity, this has the potential to be a perfect all-purpose setup. I mean, really, I know it's a TRX4. I've driven almost all the flavors. That RT tire setup with that foam, even. I mean, I don't want to get silicone for the waterproofing, but like, this is proper. The suspension feels great. Oh, wax, 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 wax. Before this goes out and goes to wet place, look at the articulation, looks great. Before we go out and mess this thing up, I have to wax. I know I mentioned it in a wheel on Wednesday. I'll mention it again right now because it's important. If you are someone who spends a bunch of time out on trails or mashing in the creek or what have you, get yourself a bottle of bicycle chain wax. I don't care for white lightning, but it's an option. Smooth, squirt. There's any number of bicycle chain lubes, and at least a couple hours, preferably overnight before you go out. All four ends where your CVDs or your universals are on your drive shafts, just wax them up. The water won't wash it off, or at least it shouldn't, and you will have no squeaks, because drive shaft squeak is, I mean, nobody wants to hear that all day. It's so shiny. I'm getting used to painting things on the outside, and when this, and look at the approach is great too. Why would they, why this one? Why did they lose the license? They can't sell the Daimler stuff anymore? Was this a Stellantis intervention? I don't know. I don't know. It's pretty great. And for what this will be used for, this is perfect. I don't understand the things that they discontinue. I don't understand the product lines that manufacturers push. It sits Lynx level, perfectly flat. Again, I can't categorize this as a build. I made what Traxxas discontinued. Thankfully, they still sell the body. Thankfully, it was on sale when I ordered it. The single most expensive component in this entire build is the body, which I guess that actually, I say that like, oh, what a foreign concept. No, I mean, there's a lot of bodies out there that are $150, $170, $200, which is something that my old brain and eyes never thought that they would see nor comprehend. It's wild. $80 for this body. When the wife saw me ordering it, was like, $80? And I was like, she must never know. She must never know what the components add up to cost. It came from the Workbench 53, is a Traxxas G500 built the best possible way. We traded on an 1800 for a 1200, which I already had both of, so that's not a problem. It's not like that 1800 is going to sit in a drawer for the rest of its life. It's going to go into something immediately. There's nothing to throw away. No XL5, no 2075X, none of the stock Traxxas stuff to cast off into a box. No TQI or TQ to sell to somebody. We've got the radio we want, the motor we want, the tires we want, the wheels we want, the body and the color that we want. I don't need to add a bunch of brass to it because it doesn't need it. There is 0 grams added brass. We are adding weight in the form of a Sony camera and a 5200 battery. And I told myself during setup, throw a chip in that camera. We can mix in some running footage to see what it looks like. And then I didn't. Such is the way of the world. I don't know if she has a name for it yet. I know that she told me to go on RC Plate Shop and order her plates for it. So I'll have to order some plates for the G-Wagen. It is her responsibility to name it. It is my responsibility to maintain it in every conceivable way. It is not your responsibility, but we would at least hope that you will come along for the journey and the trials and the tribulations and see how it does. See how long this part of the experiment lasts. I always wait for the other shoe to drop. Like, how long will interest be born? We'll see. We'll all find that out, hopefully, together. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for being a part of the Canyon. Thank you for contributing. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking with the whole experience. I look forward to seeing you in the next one, and in between now and then, please, what and I'll do your very best to have a good run, everybody. We'll see you again here from the Canyon as soon as humanly possible. And the next time you see this, it will probably, well, here's something that we can say with some certainty. That green fellow right there will never be that clean again. Some start this way, but none end this way. And let's be truthful. That's the way it's supposed to be. Toy cars to play with your toy cars.